Hi everyone, welcome to Enjoy English School. I'm Steven.
I'm Minnie.
Today's date is May 17th. For the next 2 days, we're going to be covering pages 36 to 39.
那今天5月17号呢，我们接下来2天，明天18号，我们都会在36到39页的部分。
The subject is art, and the title of today's article is Street Art Saves the World.
那我们主题这一次是艺术飨宴，然后会是在讲街头壁画救地球这样子的主题。
More than just pretty pictures, murals lift our spirits and even protect the environment.
所以这边的这个副标很可爱，他说壁画不只是好看的图画哦，它让人开心振奋，甚至可以保护环境。
How? How does it do it? So we'll find out today. Let's face it, plain city walls are boring.
事实就是如此，没有装饰的城市墙面就是很无聊。
All right, so when we say let's face it, we mean let's face this problem. Let's bring up this problem that everybody knows, this situation that everybody knows. Let's just talk about it. 我们来好好讲吧，我们面对它吧，这个意思。So let's face it. 这个常常when we're talking to a friend, like they'll be like, hey, you know what? There's something that we're not talking about. Let's face it. The truth is 怎么样。Okay, so we often say this, all right? So let's face it. Okay, and we'll put a colon here because we're about to tell you what we're about to face, what we're about to talk about. Plain city walls are boring. And what do we mean by plain? This adjective means something that is very kind of ordinary. There's nothing special about it. Okay, this can also be an adjective to talk about food. Like if it's a yogurt with no like fruits, no flavors added, it's just plain yogurt. So that's what plain means.
所以 P-L-A-I-N plain 这个字它其实就是平淡无奇。你可以说我人生平淡无奇我的经验平淡无奇，我的食物味觉味道平淡无奇，都可以使用。
And then here we see the adjective boring, right? A lot of times my friends will say, I'm so boring.
Hi, 大家好，我是一个无聊的人。
Yeah, when you say that something is boring, you mean that this thing is 无聊的. But what you're trying to say is, I am bored. So when you're talking about yourself, 你的情况是现在是很无聊, we usually say bored. I am bored, 而不是 I am bored.
对，我常跟学生说 ED 形容心情或者是情绪，ING 形容事物人的本体。所以你在形容情绪的时候就要用像 bored, excited, interested。那如果是形容本身的东西，一个情况的话，那就是 boring, exciting, interesting。
Right.
分清楚。
对，不要再说 I am boring.
我是一个无聊的人。
对，就没有人会跟你讲话 right? Okay, let's continue. But if you add a splash of color and a dash of art, suddenly cities are energetic, interesting, and full of life.
但是我们这边看到 but 就知道，前面讲到无聊，但后面不一样咯。如果你撒一些色彩，加一点点艺术，城市就会摇身一变，然后变得 energetic 有活力、有趣，而且充满生气。
Right, so here whenever we say a splash of something, it means to add a little bit of this thing. Also, we can say a dash of something. That's another way to say this, okay? But because they're saying two different things, they want to give you two different ways of saying it. So a splash of color and a splash of art. 也可以, but a dash of art is also acceptable. Suddenly, these cities are energetic, interesting, and full of life. So we have 3 different types of adjectives, right? So that's why we're using commas to separate them. Okay?
所以在这边 splash 跟 dash 它其实都是喷洒的意思，但 splash 有点像是这样喷出去洒出去，dash 比较像是画一笔的感觉。
Yeah.
对，所以这两个还是有点小小的差异。
可他们两个意思，对，它的意思本身是差异，可是它两个意思就是加一点点这个东西。
对，都是增加一点点的意思。
Yes. Okay. And then energetic is a very good adjective to learn. That means something that has a lot of energy. Okay. Street murals take the ordinary and make it extraordinary. One stroke of paint at a time.
所以他说街头的壁画一笔一画 one stroke at a time， 这个 stroke 也是笔画的意思，一笔一画就将平凡变成不平凡。
All right, so when they're taking the ordinary, 就是拿一个普通东西，然后把它使得 extraordinary. 所以你看这个 extraordinary 它是 extra and ordinary 放在一起 OK 所以本来是 ordinary which means like
平淡无奇的
普通的但是加一个 extra in front of it makes it something that's amazing
不平凡的
and it's not pronounced extraordinary it's extraordinary Okay, so remember that, because I think a lot of people who, when we were growing up in America, some people would actually say extraordinary.
Including me.
Yeah, but then the thing is, people know what you're trying to say, but the correct way is extraordinary.
Yeah, it's also very important to learn the correct one.
All right, so now we're going to find out what do they mean by one stroke of paint at a time. Okay, 就一笔一笔这样画上去。Not only are street murals beautiful, but some of them also clean the air at the same time.
Wow! 所以他说，街头壁画不只是赏心悦目哦，其中有一些壁画同时还可以净化空气。
What do they mean by that? Do they mean the paint has these like
high-tech?
High-tech paint, eco-friendly paint? All right, we'll find out. The Converse City Forests campaign is teaming up with 13 artists to add some color to city walls around the world.
那 Converse 城市森林的这个活动与13个城市共同的来合作，那替全球的城市增添一些色彩。
Okay, so we know that this campaign is the title of an organization or a movement.
Yes.
Okay, or a plan. So that's why everything is capitalized. Okay, Converse City Forests campaign. And let's look at this word campaign. It's usually like it's like
大型活动。
Yeah, it's an event that a lot of people do together. It's a planned event. Okay, and then we see a G in this word. The G is silent. So it's not campaign. Okay, it's campaign.
Campaign.
Right? And when we say that these people are, this campaign is teaming up with 13 artists, that means that they're working with them. Okay, so usually when we say that they're working with these people, 我们会加那个 with 那个介系词。
对。
But if you want to use the verb team, we use the preposition up.
Team up 还是有 with 啊
Yeah, team up with. Yeah.
和某人一起。对。
But we also have another word that we can learn, and it's collaborating.
Collaborating.
Okay.
合作。
合作, and it's spelled C-O-L-L-A-B-O-R-A-T-E. That's the 原形的动词 collaborate. And then if you use collaborate, you also have to use the preposition with. And we see this very often. This artist is collaborating with this artist. Lady Gaga is collaborating with Ariana Grande. So it's something that we often see in social media. And because we see it very often, and it's a very long word, a lot of times people will make it short and say collab.
Oh,
C-O-L-L-A-B. So this artist is collabing with this artist. It's like a younger way of saying it, a new way of saying it. So this is a collab between Ariana Grande and Lady Gaga. And so this is when we're using it as a noun. Okay, well, you'll often see it, C-O-L-L-A-B. That just means they're teaming up.
所以 collab 这个字就是刚刚老师讲的 collaborating， 因为字很长嘛，然后大家讲话都求快，所以我们就会有一个缩写叫 collab。
All right, so they're teaming up with these 13 artists to add some colors to city walls all over the world or around the world. Okay.
世界各地。
What's more, the paint used in the murals actually absorbs air pollution and turns it into something harmless.
Wow, sounds like a magic.
So it is like high-tech paint.
Yeah, I guess so.
I've never heard of that. That's amazing.
所以他说除此之外啊，墙壁上的颜料其实会吸收空气污染，吸收这个空气污染，然后把它转成一种无害的物质。
Right. So when we see a sentence start with what's more, we know that we're taking what we learned in the previous sentence and we're learning more information about that. Okay, so what's more, the paint used in the murals, and murals are basically paintings that are usually very large. It's on the wall and it's usually very large. And it actually absorbs, okay, it takes in the air pollution and converts it or turns it into something harmless. So the word I just used is convert, C-O-N-V-E-R-T. Okay, 就是转换的意思。Okay, so it converts this air pollution and turns it into something harmless. So when something is harmless, that means that it
无害的。
无害的 Okay, so you see L-E-S-S 就知道这个是
形容词，没有的什么东西的形容词结尾。
But 刚刚 Minnie 老师差一点讲的是 harmful. Okay, HARMFUL， 所以看到这个 FUL 就像 FULL 那种感觉，所以我们知道 FULL 就是塞满的还是充满的。So harmful, which means
有害的。
有害的 ，OK， so 有很多 a lot of adjectives have this form.
Useful, useless.
Yeah, so if you are useful, that means that
你很有用。
Yes, but if you're useless, that
你很没用。
sometimes people will use that adjective to kind of scold somebody, which is really mean. You're useless.
怎么可以说人家没用呢？
Yeah, that's really awful.
Yes.
And then another one is painful.
哦，疼痛。
Or painless.
无痛。
Yeah, okay. So when you see FUL behind an adjective, it means that it is full of this adjective. Okay, if you see LESS at the end of an adjective, it means that it doesn't really have this
一
adjective.
次就记2个单字了。
Exactly. All right, let's take a short break. In Bangkok, 2 local artists created a mural featuring 2 hands at the center.
那在 Bangkok 曼谷，泰国曼谷，这个2位当地的艺术家创造了一个壁画。那它的特色是画的中央有2只手。
So this featuring, you could also say containing, including,
包含
2 hands at the center. According to the painters, it is meant as a symbol of unity.
那根据这2个壁画家所述，这个2只手啊放在中间，这个画是在意象是象征团结 unity。
So we often see this according to someone, 就是根据某一个人的说法还是解读。Okay, so we see this very often. According to someone. All right. It is meant as a symbol of unity. So they have this meaning. Okay, they wanted to express this meaning, a symbol of unity. And when we say unity, we mean when things are very united, working together, are very peaceful. There's no fighting. That's when people are unified. Okay, unified is the adjective. UNIFIED, unified. Right, unity is the noun. Okay, and a lot of times these murals, they will have different symbols or it might not be very straightforward. Okay, for instance, I've seen murals where like maybe they're complaining about the crime. Like the person who created the mural is complaining about the crime in the city. So they might have like guns and stuff, like a lot of dangerous weapons on the wall, but then they will have like crying people to show that these crimes are causing a lot of people a lot of sorrow, a lot of pain, a lot of sadness. So a lot of times murals in cities, it's not like graffiti, Graffiti. Graffiti is like when you take spray paint and you spray on the walls. That's also a form of art, a form of expression, but usually it's more kind of like
涂鸦
one person's
对
or
一个人
yeah, their thoughts on society. Murals are usually trying to include like the whole society, the whole environment, the whole community as a whole.
所以 graffiti 它是比较像是那种就是喷墨喷画，然后可能比较直接一点，然后有可能是一人所为，他在表达他自己的想法。但是如果是我们这一课讲到的这个 mural，它是属于比较壁画，它就很多会有象征性。老师刚刚有举例说，例如像他要讲一个 crime crime 犯罪，他可能犯罪这2个字我们没办法用意象表达，所以他可能画出来是枪是刀是这些危险的东西，然后有人在哭。对，所以这个就是比较传达一种集体意识的一种概念的，比较是 mural.
Yeah, because usually murals have to be permitted by the government. So that's why it can't be something that is very like opinionated, something that is only one person's viewpoint. Since it's allowed by the government, it has to be something that really stands for that community.
对
Yeah.
所以 mural 它通常是被允许去画作的，但是 graffiti 比较是有种半夜2点没有人的时候，我偷偷去喷的那种。
That's why the art of graffiti, it has a very bad reputation because a lot of graffiti artists, they have a lot of positive messages to say, but because there are some people who just use graffiti to vandalize. Okay, vandalize, VANDALIZE. Vandalize is kind of like it's a 破坏. Okay, so that's why a lot of graffiti artists don't have good reputations, right? So it's just the way that the society views it. But there are a lot of great graffiti artists as well who have really good messages to say.
They should apply for like a permission.
Yeah, there are places where they can.
Yeah.
So a lot of times for these murals, they will be very abstract. 我们可以学这个字，抽象，ABSTRACT, abstract. Okay. Beyond the message, the huge painting allegedly has the same environmental impact as planting 150 trees.
我好喜欢用 beyond 这个字，就是他说 beyond the message 意思是除了传达讯息以外，就是比传达讯息更多的是这幅巨型的壁画据说有等同于种植150棵树这样子的环保效应。
Right, so here we see the huge painting. It's because this writer doesn't want to keep saying mural, mural, mural. So now they're just using a different way to express mural. So that's a really good thing to keep in mind when you're writing or when you're speaking. There are different ways to say it so that your reader or the listener doesn't feel bored. Okay, so allegedly, what does this mean? This means that it's something that, people say that this thing has this effect, but we don't necessarily have enough proof. Okay, allegedly. So
据说有。
对，你还没有足够的 evidence
证明
evidence 你还没有足够的这些证据跟证明的话，这个东西是 alleged. Okay, 所以这个是可以学习的一个这个是副词 allegedly, 但是也可以用它的形容词 alleged.Okay, it has the same environmental impact as planting 150 trees. So impact is like it has this effect, okay? Effect on the environment, which is equivalent or equals to planting 150 trees. That's really interesting.
Yeah, 涂一幅画可以像种150棵树。
So I guess this paint that they're saying really does absorb this pollution and helps the environment. I guess that's what they mean.Not to be outdone, the Warsaw mural for this project features the words create together for tomorrow.
OK, 所以他说不让曼谷壁画专美于前，城市森林活动的这个华沙壁画上面显示了这个一起为明天创作的这样子的一个标题字样。
Right, so when we say that you're outdoing someone or something, that means that you're doing something to win against them. You're doing better than them. The Warsaw is the capital of Poland. The Warsaw mural for this project features or has the words create together for tomorrow. And because this is the words that you actually see on the mural, that's why we're using the quotation marks. Okay. Its impact is said to be equal to planting almost 800 trees.
哇，果然不让曼谷的这个专美于前，因为它这一个标题的字样呢，环保效应据说等同于800棵树的效应。
So it kind of did outdo the Bangkok one, but it's saying not to be outdone. So it's trying to be humble about,
谦虚一点啊，没有了，就是
没有在 outdo you，
就是你知道150颗，我们800啦，就是一点点，多一点点。
Not a big deal, right? So impact 可以学习一下，就是这个 effect. Okay, so its effect is said to be equal to，就是有跟 A is said to be equal to B， 就是说
A 跟 B。
是有相等的，
对，同等值的意思，我们就会用这个 equal to。
Yeah, wow. So that's really, I just never knew that paint.
We don't need trees anymore.
Yeah, I just never knew that paint could do that.
Yeah.
We live in a very amazing world.
Yes,
Okay, let's do the review. If I'm cooking and I add a splash of vinegar, what does that mean?
就是要撒一些醋 ，vinegar 是醋哦，
醋 and a dash of salt，
然后再放一些盐巴。
Right， 所以就是撒一点点那种感觉 ，a splash of something 还是 a dash of something， 一点点，
加一点点。
Okay, what does the adjective extraordinary mean?
就代表你非常的不平凡、非凡的。
And if the verb absorb, what does that mean?
吸收。
And what if something is harmless?
就代表它是无害的。
What if it's harmful?
就代表它是有害的。
And if we say that something is alleged, what does that mean?
That means 就是据说，就是大家都这么说啊，但是有没有实际证明呢？我们不知道。
What does the word unity mean?
代表我们很团结。
And what does impact mean?
就代表这是一个影响力 impact。
Right. And if I outdo you in a competition, what does that mean?
就代表你专美于前，你超越我的感觉 ，outdo me。
Right. And then if I'm teaming up with you to do something, what does that mean?
那就代表他要跟我一起合作，又可以用 collaborating with something.
Exactly. Or collab with.
Collab.
Which is what the young people say.
Yes, collab.
We are young. Yes. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We'll continue with this subject tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
第36页，艺术飨宴，街头壁画救地球。
Street art saves the world. Let's face it, plain city walls are boring. But if you add a splash of color and a dash of art, suddenly cities are energetic, interesting, and full of life. Street murals take the ordinary and make it extraordinary, one stroke of paint at a time. Not only are street murals beautiful, but some of them also clean the air at the same time. The Converse City Forests campaign is teaming up with 13 artists to add some color to city walls around the world. What's more, the paint used in the murals actually absorbs air pollution and turns it into something harmless. In Bangkok, 2 local artists created a mural featuring 2 hands at the center. According to the painters, it is meant as a symbol of unity. Beyond the message, the huge painting allegedly has the same environmental impact as planting 150 trees. Not to be outdone, the Warsaw mural for this project features the words, "Create together for tomorrow." Its impact is said to be equal to planting almost 800 trees.